Hello, and welcome to the Modern Romantic Podcast, where we celebrate romanticism through art, storytelling, nature, music, poetry, creating, and passionate people doing incredible things. Hi, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, and tonight I am joined by my co host, Silent Night, Emily. Hey, Emily.
Hi. I'm not so silent. I should have made that my name. Not so silent night.
On the not so silent night. Anyway, so welcome to the Modern Romantic Podcast. Emily, would you like to introduce our lovely guest for the evening?
I would love to. Yes. Tonight we have photographers, coaches, and branding experts, Brian and Lindsey Cowen.
Hello! We made it.
So excited you could join us tonight. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we're so happy to be on here and be asked. It's an honor, honestly. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So we're excited.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Before the podcast even started, I have to say how much I was already laughing. We came into the conversation talking about Doctor Who and like the Christmas tree behind me.
Yep.
And I just want to like quickly just take a point to say how we talked about how Christmas trees potentially have sentience, and they're actually the people that are running the world, and they're actually the ones dominating, not actually cats. Cats are just like the or just the prop. It's actually
prop,
Christmas trees.
Yeah.
I don't know if my cats would agree with it. My cats have destroyed some of the tree.
Maybe because they know that there's something.
Because
lurking.
they know.
They understand.
Because
They know. They're in on it.
They're paid off in cat food.
Mm-hmm.
Could be because we started the season with a mostly lit tree, and now the tree might be about 25% lit.
Wow.
I do
Yeah.
understand.
And it's not even like it's just this blob on the side that's sort of lit. I'll have to send you a picture or something because it is. Well, let's just say I want to fix it before actual Christmas because it's really bad.
So we used to, because we have 4 kids total. So our boys are 6 and 8, and our girls are 14 and 15. But there were definitely seasons where, as the year would go on, we would have less and less on the bottom and more on the top because they would, like, the kids would be. And so every time that they would take an ornament off, I would just put it a little bit higher off the tree and all that kind of stuff.
So like one year all we had was the angel on top.
Yeah.
Because they destroyed the whole bottom.
Yeah. So we would have like a completely bare bottom half, and then like very ornamenty up at the top.
And we duct taped all the ornaments on the ceiling.
No, not really.
Because then they couldn't get to it.
So, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Josh said there are gaps in the ornaments on the tree where the cats can reach, and that is true. Because they can kind of reach from the back of the couch the one can because he's longer, Oliver, and he can reach them. So we had to, I slid the tree over a few inches and it wasn't enough. So I had to move it. Now it's in the hallway because I'm just kidding.
One year I thought about putting it outside the house so we could look out the window and see it to protect the ornaments, But we didn't do that because that's weird.
Yeah. Because then all of our handmade paper ornaments would not survive.
Plus, you put the presents out there under the tree, and
I know, right?
It would all be. It would be a weather-controlled environment. I would put a plastic bag over it.
Yeah.
Emily just sent me a picture of her Christmas tree and can confirm it is about 25% lit. But I do have to say, Emily, it is very well decorated. You and Josh did an excellent job. It's very pretty.
Us and the cats. And don't worry, Brian and Lindsay, I sent you the picture too.
Okay, awesome.
I need to look at this.
Yes, that's amazing.
That makes me. That looks like me during the holidays.
I get it. I get it.
I'm a little bit lit, but not. That's great.
Isn't that? Yeah. It's you know what? Earlier today, it had more lights on it than than it does now. I noticed sometime late afternoon. I walked upstairs and I went, "Oh, now there's even more lights out. It's wonderful."
No, that's awesome.
I feel like you could probably do a retelling of A Charlie Bell and Christmas with this tree.
Mhm.
It's lit, but not really. But it's the thought that matters.
Exactly.
It's really. It's right. You know, I try to live an elegant and classy life.
Yes.
You know what'd be funny? If you took a photo of this and got a red sweater and had it printed on it, and you wore that to every Christmas party.
That's just
That'd be so funny.
Partially lit tree.
Yeah, but the back will be like, I'm partly lit this year.
Yep.
You can sell it in your merch. That'd be so
merch.
funny. Yeah, your merch. The
Partially lit tree. I think.
Yep.
To be fair, I'm going to show our live audience this tree now because we've talked about it enough. This isn't even fair to anybody. So
you're gonna do what?
Right?
I'm gonna screen share it with the people watching.
You're gonna go sign up for ancestrytree.com. I'm like, why would you need to go search your ancestry right now?
Ancestry. There we go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing?
See, I really like it. I still think it's really, really nice.
You know what it looks like to me? It looks like the clouds have parted, and then, you know how like when you're doing photography or like when you're taking a photo, and like you've got like the speckled light. It just looks like speckled light on there. That's what it really looks like.
That was so awesome.
Yes.
It was like a 10,000 windows open.
It's okay.
It was it was like windowception.
That was fun.
Exactly.
That was funny though.
A window within a window within a window.
Yeah.
But no, it looks like speckled light. That's what it looks like to me. So it's really pretty.
Thank you.
It just looks like, oh look, the sun's shining on this one section of it.
It's kind of sunny on that side, right?
Yeah. You know what would make this funnier, but probably for me, if you took a photo of yourself, shrunk it down, and made it really small and put it at the bottom of the tree.
Yeah.
Pointing at the top. It wouldn't make any sense, but it'd be funny though.
Yeah, because this is Ryan's humor all the way.
It's a mini Christmas.
What was I going to ask? Moving kind of like towards like your background, because with all of the creative side, it's very clear that you both have such a creative spirit. You both have a very fun-loving attitude. I mean, we talked for almost 30 minutes about Doctor Who and tree sentience.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about how did you get started in photography? Was it together? Was it separate? And then you combined forces? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So for me, you know, honestly, I grew up building computers. I grew up in a world where AOL was the king of the internet, and how you bought your stuff. The Amazon exists, so you bought all your computer parts from BBSs, and I would wait.
Bulletin boards.
Yeah,
Like it was like text only internet that you had to dial into. Kind of think like Twitch, but or like a chat room or something like that.
I seriously dated myself when I said BBS.
Yes.
Anyway,
it's all good.
It's not an important detail, but anyway, I would build computers with my dad. And from that experience, when I got older, I thought I was going to be a computer repair guy. So I went to a local college, and I did about 2 years of learning how to build a computer, which I thought was going to be fun, but it was not. My brain checked out and left every single time that I went. And I hated it. And I was really in this weird downworld cycle of I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I all of a sudden had this desire to pick up a camera, which I didn't have at all for many years of my life, because I really didn't know I was a creative person, but there was something about the camera that made me very excited. And my dad paid for the camera class, and I walked in expecting to hate it.
Just like a local community college, like photo 101.
But I mean, like, I had no aspirations for anything. I just was like, oh, okay, I have a camera, I'm gonna take some photos. But it was such an eye-opening direction in my life, because I realized there was something deep inside of me. When it saw what the camera could do, it opened up a part of me and said, if you do this, you will find your true self. And that led me to being creative. And it allowed me to start learning, wow, what is Ryan's voice? And I did that for a couple years, not professionally, all for fun. And then I actually was able to buy a couple more higher end cameras because I'm like, oh, this is getting fun. This is exciting.
So you
And
bought
then-
a 10D.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So we're talking, 17 years ago, or actually 18 years ago, 19 years ago, somewhere around there.
Which I recently found my original 10D
Yes.
in a plastic bag in my garage, which I thought was thrown away. And I'm like, I'm so glad that I have something that connects me to that season in my life.
Yeah.
Because that camera was like, that was me. My identity at that time was, wow, I have something fun that actually expresses who I am.
Yeah. So basically Brian's sitting there and he's doing his just learning and just having fun with his camera and not really doing anything
It
major.
was not serious.
But he ended up coming to a party that we do have some photos. We actually found a bunch of our old CDs. So we've just got to go through them and everything like that. So
I found all these CDs in my garage.
Yes.
The CDRs.
Yes.
DVDs.
Oh my gosh.
So this was his labeling system. If
Like
you look,
that.
it's his horrible handwriting,
But it all
and
made sense
it's
to
all
me.
over the place, and you can barely even read it. And so I took over the file
We
handling.
would go on we would go on these family vacations, and this
Yeah.
is probably from 20 years ago. And I had a tape recorder, and I recorded my uncle, my dad, and my aunt singing their songs from their childhood.
Yeah.
With very terrible quality. But I was like, I'm capturing a moment in time.
Mhm.
So I digitalized it, and I made a CD, and I sent it to everybody.
Yep.
And it's like, I love capturing moments. And I feel like you only have one chance to live it, so why not do it good?
Yeah. So then, basically Brian went to a party. That's how we met. It was just whatever. It was not anything crazy, outlandish, whatever. It was just, I like to gather all my friends together and always had super open invites. So
Yeah.
Brian came, he brought his camera and he was like, he came up to me and he was like, do you think people would mind if I took photos? And I'm like, oh, go for it. Do
Yeah.
whatever you want to, whatever. And so he did. And the way that he captured people, the way that he captured their expressions, the way that he captured them just candidly, it actually looked like them. You could see their personality in it. You could see everything about them, and you felt like you were there just by looking through these photos. And
Yeah.
were they technically correct? No. Were there blurry photos? Yes. Was the lighting horrible? Yes. But there was something about it that was just like, okay, there's something here that is totally different than
Yeah.
anything I'd ever seen.
But I was in a really crucial place at that time because when I met you,
Mhm.
if you would have said, don't take photos, I don't know if I would have pursued doing what I wanted.
Right.
I wanted to capture things in the moment. And if the stranger to me at the time would have said, hey, yeah, don't take photos, no one likes it,
Mhm.
that would have been hard
Right.
because I didn't know she was my wife at the time. I liked her, but I would have taken that the opposite way because I had very low self-confidence.
Mhm.
And I just thought I was the weirdo with the camera, I mean, not maybe a weirdo, but I just felt like an oddball.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what this could do for my career or my life. And that could have set me in a different direction.
Yeah.
If you would have said, yeah, don't do that.
So that's my whole thing. I see things in people
Yeah.
and I encourage that. And I'm like, I see this in you. This is what you need to do. So that's what I did is when he gave me literally one of these kind of CDs. It looked like this. Okay.
Yeah.
with the Brian glyphics on it.
Yes, exactly. So he gave me one, put it in my computer, and I'm like, this is crazy. This is so good. Brian, you need to be doing this more often. Whatever you need to do, this is what you're called to do. And so eventually, we were friends at first. He was pursuing me, but I'm like, no. And then eventually I'm like, fine.
I thought we got married the next day.
Fine.
Boom.
Fine.
It was like,
No.
I said, meet me at the courthouse. She's like, okay.
No.
And then
So legitimately, okay, this is
Got it, got it.
2004. The movie Shrek is just coming out.
oh my
Oh,
god.
And
yeah.
the song Accidentally in
It
Love.
was Smash Mouth.
Yes.
Accidentally in love.
And so that song came on the radio and I'm like, crap, I did. I actually fell in love with him. I wasn't even trying.
But you fell
That
on the
was-
floor at the same time. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
But that's how I found out. That's why I was like, okay, yeah, it happened, whatever.
Like
So,
we had a short dating,
mhm.
and it was a short date.
Yeah. So
It was a short
basically,
date time,
we met. It's really the only reason why I know the dates is because I looked back at my calendar and looked. But we met on August 30th, 2004. We got married May 22nd, 2005.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Like just over a year. And I wanted to get married on April 30th because I thought, how cool would it be to like basically to have like that exact date and everything. But his parents are like, no, it's too fast. You're getting married too fast. You're doing this. And I'm like, no, we know. And so why delay the inevitable?
So this may sound crazy, but it's completely true. Lindsey was my first girlfriend, and I was Lindsey's first boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like,
I've been on dates and things like that.
But it wasn't serious. It wasn't anything. It didn't go anywhere, you know.
Yeah. And so Brian was just too shy and I was really picky, if that makes sense. So like I said, I was just like, no, sorry, not gonna happen, whatever, you know. And so I mean he was 21, I was 22. It's not like we were like, you know, in our 30s or anything like that. But
yeah,
it just ended up happening that way. So the guys that liked me, I was kind of like, ew, boy, go away. And then
I was so shy.
And then the guys that I like never like really, you know, whatever.
If anyone liked me, I never knew it because I was so shy.
Exactly. So I pulled that out in him. I'm like, Brian, there's something in you.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
But our first conversations were about as undecipherable as.
He's gonna keep on bringing that up. Like in an awkward moment in the conversation, he's gonna like bring it up.
Yep. CD labeling skills, whatever. But
so I think like fast forward.
Yeah.
We shot our first paid wedding 2 weeks after our own.
Yeah.
So we got back from Ireland, and then we shot her roommates.
Yeah.
And I had a guy mentoring me at this time who was in the wedding career, who was in the wedding industry, and he just said, "Brian, don't do weddings. They ruin your life. They're the worst use of your time." He just so negative about it. And
he was also going through a divorce at the time.
He definitely was. But like, it was another turning point because it was a thing. I could have made a decision and been like, you know what, you're right. Because I was very impressionable. I would believe anything anyone tell me, but I didn't because the overriding desire to create was there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't there many years ago. So like when I met Lindsey, it was like, wow, this is something beautiful, something interesting. I don't want to give up on this.
Yeah.
And then with the photography, it was like an overriding process of this is worth it. There's something in here, but you have to be part of it. You have to give in to your, you have to just step into it. You just can't like you can't be an audience member your whole life. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to get on the field.
So essentially all of my friends that used to come together for these parties, like it was like literally every weekend we would just all hang out together. It was like a big group of like, there were 40 of us that like did it and whatever.
She called it the Dude Seriously House.
Yes. Because I was always like, dude, seriously, I'm so excited.
She would stand on the couch. She would stand on the couch in front of all these people, like, dude, seriously, we're gonna have a party tonight.
Yeah,
that's how she did it.
God, that really does sound. That sounds like a party I would show up to.
Yeah. Exactly, it was so much fun, and so so eventually, like all of us ended up kind of coupling up and getting together, and we all married each other, if that makes sense.
Not
like a group wedding.
It didn't happen like
no, like basically it's one of those things where I was the catalyst in a lot of things. So like when Brian and I started dating, everybody else is like, well, wait, hold on, maybe we should start, and so it just kind of happened. Like seriously, there were like probably about 10 of our friends that ended up getting married that same year that we did. Like we all just kind of,
it was like a domino effect.
Yeah.
We said we're gonna get married, and everyone's like, we should get married too. So like everyone in Kenosha just got married. It was crazy.
Yes.
It was literally like that. It was just like,
wait, where did you say you were?
Kenosha, Wisconsin is where we met.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay, I was
very
gonna say you do not sound like you're from Georgia. You sound like you're from the Midwest.
I'm from
Yes.
Mars.
And
Yes.
You know,
my mom lives in Kenosha right now.
Are you
so,
serious?
Yeah.
are you serious?
Mhm.
That is hilarious. Yes.
So we lived 12 years of our life in Kenosha, Wisconsin. We lived off
13.
we lived off of 27th Avenue,
yeah.
and it's by the spot.
Yeah. 73, 13,
right there.
27th Avenue.
Yeah.
Because if you know Kenosha, it's all a grid,
It's all a
whatever.
grid.
So I can give you my address, and you know exactly where I
And
live.
we live by
Yep.
the original spot because
Yes.
there's some other spots that
Yeah.
aren't the real spots, and
Yeah.
they didn't do as good. But we live by the original
Yeah.
spot.
So we used to walk down there all the
Yeah.
time and everything
Yeah,
like
they
that. It
had
was really fun.
Good
That's
burgers.
so amazing. Yeah, I used to
Yeah.
visit Kenosha all the time because I would go to the Bristol Renaissance Festival right there.
Yeah, totally.
Which is
Exactly.
technically not Kenosha, but whatever.
Close enough.
Where is that?
Yeah, in Bristol.
Oh, Bristol. Okay.
He's like, yeah.
The Bristol Renaissance Festival
Yeah.
in Bristol.
That's one place we never went to. We went all over the place.
I went to it before we met, but
Yeah.
it's all good.
I mean, like, in a nutshell, like our Kenosha years was so formative in who we are.
Yeah.
We were part of a great church. We had a lot of great friends that really helped strengthen our marriage, helped strengthen us as people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like it was exactly what we needed.
Yeah.
Exactly, because it's like when you're
Exactly.
young and married and you're trying to figure your life out,
Mm-hmm.
that's scary, man. That's super
Yeah.
scary. And we had people that loved us, man, that would jump in the trenches of anything and fight for us.
So it was
And
just really good.
We're products of that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So basically, essentially we started like photographing all these weddings. It was mainly
Yeah.
Brian. I was there as his encouragement, as his like, you can do it kind of thing or whatever,
You
you know.
text me, you're doing a great job, honey.
Yeah, but
Great
like
job.
I would go with him to all the weddings just as his assistant because that's just like he needed that emotional support and stuff. In the
And
beginning,
stuff.
he was very.
When I was crying.
in the beginning, he didn't believe in himself as much, so I believed in him, and that he rode on that kind of thing.
Like, this may sound cheesy, but I am 100% a product of my wife's encouragement.
Oh,
Like,
I see it.
I was very shy. I was very to myself. Without her genuine, lovingly commitment in my life, I would not be who I am. Like, I just wouldn't be.
Mhm.
And I think it's the power of having someone that supports you in all the things that you do. Like that. And we have people that support us, but people who really support you when they're like always there. They're
Yeah.
always in your corner.
Mhm.
That's her.
Yeah.
yeah. Josh said, "Oh, sorry, Trey. You go."
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna read what Josh said in the chat. He said, "Having someone believe in you is so incredibly powerful." And also, Credence said, two things that I didn't want to miss, and one was give in to the art side.
Yes.
And
exactly.
it says, sounds like a Monty Python sketch, but I don't remember what that was referring to. So I'm
Actually, he may be talking about the life of Brian,
Yes.
which is
oh,
he could be talking about that.
he might be. He might
Yeah.
be.
Oh.
He might be really familiar with the life of Brian.
Is it true that the life of Brian, like it's literally, is it Brian Cowen? Is that
Brian Cowen
Brian Cowen
with an H.
with an H?
Oh,
Yeah,
Like that was his name.
that
in the
was his
thing.
name in the movie.
I'm pretty
Brian
sure.
Cowen.
Like
Yeah.
the Jewish version of our name.
Yeah.
no, I'm going to look it up. All right, Trey,
And
what were you going to
it's-
say?
Like, it's funny. I watched it the other day, and I'm like,
Wait,
did
hold
they
on.
make this movie about me? I wasn't alive when they filmed this
Right.
movie.
I was going to echo what you were saying about having somebody. My partner Seth and I couldn't have imagined somebody more supportive in my life. Literally will be like, you can do this. Like, we were having a conversation about something right before the podcast started, and he's like, I love you. I believe in you. I know you can do this. Give me a forehead kiss, which, side note, if you're a guy and you like forehead kisses, you are amazing. So it's just,
Right.
it's a sweet thing, but I
Yeah.
really couldn't imagine my life without him. So
Yeah.
I love you, Seth.
Yes.
So great.
You're right. It's Brian Cowen, Cohen.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
That is
Isn't that
so
hilarious?
funny.
Yep. Cohen.
Is it on
Whatever.
Netflix? Is it's gonna like the ratings are gonna jump up over the week?
Yeah,
over
no.
the,
Just
over
from
the-
this,
like-
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So
I'd like to
Um,
think we're that powerful.
That would be
Yes.
funny if you were.
Could
Like
sway movie.
You get a call on the phone. You're like, "Hey guys, I got a call. It's Netflix. Hey, can you talk more about the life of Brian?"
Netflix, if you're listening, we are looking for sponsors.
yes.
That'd be
And it-
so funny.
And if you would like to email us with said sponsorship, you can email us at please sponsor us. We love you at themodrom.com.
It exists.
That is
They
a
don't-
real email.
I don't think Netflix does that. I think they just send checks.
Yes.
You just get a check. You're like $10 billion.
Okay.
Oh,
10
Well,
billion. Thanks, Netflix.
That doesn't matter that like Avatar, like the entire budget was $1 billion.
well,
So,
Yes.
but Netflix would just give us 10. Yeah.
yeah.
So it has to make at least $1 billion. Sorry, random
And
side note.
yeah, this
But
is
it has to
random.
make it at least $1 billion just to break even.
Yeah,
Just to
Wow.
like,
it will.
it has to make at least as much as it did in its first run to break even.
Wild.
So
Yes.
yeah, we're
But-
gonna help him tonight with that.
Yeah. My
All right,
daughter
so-
already helped.
Right. So everybody go watch Avatar so that Netflix can break even.
Yes.
And so that they can sponsor us because they'll be able to afford to.
Yes.
Thank you.
You can see the board meeting. They're like, "What should we do today? We should sponsor Modern Romance."
I think so.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Modern romantic.
Oh, but sorry. Yeah, they
Because there's this
they-
whole philosophy. I don't know if you watched it.
I
there's
don't-
this
I
whole
don't- obviously, I
philosophy
probably don't.
behind
Yeah.
like the romantic era and everything like that, and how like back then there was so much more of an emphasis on art and creativity. And
yeah.
it's amazing. I really
I'm
like it.
so thrilled to hear you watch that. You know,
Yes.
I have to say, and this is just a side note,
Uh-huh.
probably at least once a day, someone confuses romanticism or the modern romantic with like romance novels.
Yeah.
At least once a day, I get an email, a pitch to have someone on the show,
Right.
a lot of, and I'm going to cut this out later. A
I'm
lot
sorry,
of
wait,
what?
Emily, hold on. Emily, cut this out.
Oh, thank you. Because if I'm later when I edit this and I listen to it, if I don't hear my own name, I might zone out just enough to miss this part.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trey. We learned this the hard way. So, there are a few book publishers out there that
Yeah.
publish romance novels, and I
Yeah.
get contacted by them often enough. And I'm like, thank you for your interest in our podcast. We are not about romance or romance novels, but romanticism.
Yes.
And I don't include the part that it personally makes me really sad that a book publisher wouldn't know the difference.
I know, right?
But I choose to take that moment to kind of give them a little education on what romanticism is. And then I ask them how that author would instead fit into that.
Yeah.
Because it's not that I'm not interested in that author, but like
Sure.
we could really,
Right?
I would prefer to educate than give into that just to have a guest. So
Sure.
Yeah. No.
Sure.
If anything, you would ask about, okay, the novel creation process and what goes into the
Yeah.
creative mind and all that kind of stuff. I can see that for sure.
yeah.
So, yeah. No, I love it.
No,
What-
anybody.
what-
Hopefully, we won't get hate mail over that. I love book publishers and authors. I think that's
Sure.
wonderful that they would even
Yeah.
consider us enough
Yeah.
to.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, they're wrong type of romance.
Right. Wrong type of romance.
Maybe the next podcast you do, like
Yep.
the podcast.
That'll be
Yeah.
the second side podcast.
Yeah, it'd be the
Exactly.
it'd be the B side
Yeah.
of this.
hmm
You
Oh.
know?
What is it like you like to say, Trey? The dark side, the after hours.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to Modern Romantic After Dark.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow. Wow, you'll get a whole new
Yes.
audience for that one.
Hello. Yes.
That's the PG-13
hmm
or
Are,
worse.
are you gonna cut this? You're gonna cut. You're gonna cut this out.
Yeah.
What I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can if you want me to. Trey
Okay,
can
you
just.
can be like the NC-17 version
Yeah.
of. Anyway,
No.
never mind.
It's all good.
Like what?
Yes.
Emily, cut this out too.
Yeah. Like it was funnier in my head.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what am I
Wait,
talking about?
no, it's all good.
I'm gonna reel that back a little bit.
All right.
I'm coming back. Okay.
So, in
Okay. No,
telling our
you're
story,
gonna say
or
something.
yeah, what are you gonna say?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask you to keep going because there's
Yeah,
more to
okay,
the story.
good.
Yeah.
All right. So, in telling our story, okay. So, we ended up shooting all of our friends' weddings and getting paid nothing for it, really.
Yeah.
But like,
Well, I was just like amazed that people wanted to hire me. To be
right,
super
exactly.
honest. I
And
mean,
I was
like
just like, no,
it
no,
was
you should-
no, because it was weird
Yeah.
because like like I didn't feel qualified. I was
Mhm.
like, why do you want me? You know what I mean? I wasn't saying it out loud, but in my
Mhm.
head, and I just was like, I just thought it was so awesome
Yeah.
that people allowed me to take photos of their biggest day. Well, a lot
Yeah.
of people have big days, but it's a big day,
Mhm.
and I just wasn't. I was just blown away that I kept on getting emails and phone calls.
Yeah.
It's just surreal.
So I grew up. My dad was a small business owner. He was a landscaper, and so he was kind of forced to start his own landscaping business when I was about four weeks old. He essentially was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about starting my own landscaping business." So on his own dollar, during a vacation time that he was not paid for, he went out and just started putting out the feelers. Like, if I started a landscaping company, would you hire me? And his boss found out about it and fired him.
Well,
So suddenly he had to do this, with a 4-week-old baby at home. So
Yeah.
I learned in the trenches, how to start a business. And so I was just like, no, Brian, if this is what you're passionate about, we need to make this our business, whatever,
I thought your dad started his business to eradicate kazoo from the world.
Kudzu.
But
It's a thing down south.
Yeah, the scourge of the South.
I thought,
Yes.
I'm like, what a noble thing to do,
Yeah.
to get rid of kazoo.
No.
But that's not why he did it.
No.
So,
So basically, I was like, Brian, we need to make this into a legitimate business. And so we increased our prices little by little. But our first wedding, he got paid $100.
$100.
And he spent $110 on the suit that he wore to the
I
wedding
wore
one time.
once, man.
And then we increased to $250, $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,500, whatever. So we kept going, But it was just one of those things where at first it was just our friends, and then suddenly people outside of our friends group started asking us.
That's when it got real, man.
And then it just kept spiraling on. And so eventually we were shooting 50 weddings a year.
But we were doing
in the 6 months, condensed version, because you only, and when it's freezing cold outside, nobody wants to get married. So
right.
May through October.
I want to break a misconception of being busy.
Yeah.
Being busy is not always healthy. Being busy is not represent healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Being busy doesn't mean happy.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that. And the thing is, I was gone all the time.
Yeah.
I was shooting 2-3 weddings a weekend. My kids were born and I didn't see them. I was disconnected. Man.
He was just in our basement with his headphones on, just tuning out the whole world while he was editing and trying to do all these things and everything like that.
Yeah.
But it was our life, and that's what we did, but we made it work. So in May of 2010, we actually had enough weddings to booked up for the rest of the year, to where we're you're actually going to be getting paid more from weddings than you are from the grocery store where you're working. And so he was working at Jewel Osco when we first got married.
Oh, I know that one.
Which
yes,
maybe they could be a sponsor too.
Yes, Jewel Osco. You want to sponsor it too, but
thank you. Yeah, Jewel Osco, if you're listening.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of their slogan, but I can't remember their slogan.
It's all good.
Say big. No, that's Menards. That's not Jewel.
Save big money at Menards.
Yes.
Save big money at Menards.
Thank you, Trey. Menards, if you're listening, we will sing your theme song if you sponsor us.
Yes, exactly.
I'll even sing it.
So, one of the huge turning points for me is I remember coming home from work and I'm like, Lindsey, I'm never going to quit this job. I am so integrated. I'm so integrated in this job. It's what we live off. I'm never going to come home and say this job I can be done. That's never going to come out of my mouth. Mm-hmm. And I remember Lindsey brought me into, it sounds so weird, into the bedroom. That's a weird.
It was like one of the.
That sounds so weird.
We lived in a tiny 1,000 square
house, and like it was
house in Kenosha, 2-bedroom with 4 kids. Okay?
I made that awkward. I'm sorry, but
the only private place.
But she's like, Brian, there will come a day where you will leave that job.
Yeah.
There will come a day where you won't rely on that job. That job won't have you anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Because Lindsey's always been the dreamer. Lindsey's always had the faith that I never had. Mm-hmm. And I think literally 2 or 3 years went by, or it could have been faster than that. I don't know.
Way faster than that.
But I remember writing up my resignation letter. I wrote it up. I gave it to my boss, and he's like, okay. Mm-hmm. And I quit. And I walked out of that place, and I'm like, this actually happened.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we've been doing this for 17 years now. And it's just like every single time something's challenged me to like go get a full-time job or whatever it is, I'm like, I have too much invested in my dream to just give it back, to just give it to someone that is just going to like look at me and be like, oh, that's great. That's awesome. Get me a yacht. You know what I mean? Like I want to build my own dreams, and that's expensive, and you make expensive decisions and you make expensive steps. Dreams require you to do that. And it's like, if you know what you love, protect it with everything that you have.
Exactly. Yeah. So, so we went full time in photography in 2010. We shot 50 weddings, probably about 3 years in a row. And then something shifted in like the atmosphere or whatever. I don't even know exactly.
All of our friends got married, and all the younger people didn't know who we were.
Yeah.
And
so, I mean, we were relying on basically Google Maps to like, when somebody searched for Kenosha photographers, we showed up number 1. And so it just worked. And then,
because we had Cowen.
Yeah, exactly.
Alphabetically, we were
just
strategic.
No, Google Maps, we were center of Kenosha.
Oh, yeah.
There were a couple of different things.
We were Kenosha.
Yeah, but
the flag they have was our faces on it.
Yes, but anyway, so
look, it's Kenosha, Mom.
Things were starting to like slow down. The economy in general never really recovered from the 2008 recession. So, like our house that we had bought in 2006 was for $113,000 was worth only $70,000, but we still owed like $107,000. It was like really seriously like we couldn't come up with the extra $37,000. There was like no way.
It was,
and so we're just trying to figure out like how to do this and whatever. And we would come down here to Atlanta because I'm from Atlanta originally.
Yeah,
I grew up in Ackworth, Georgia.
Yeah,
and moved up to Wisconsin when I was 21. So I still got a little bit of the accent, but whatever. But like when we were coming down here just to visit my parents and whatever, and we would see the economy like just thriving. We would see things being built all over the place, whereas in Kenosha things were shutting down.
Yeah.
And so we were like, okay, there's something different. There's something here. We need to. I feel like we need to pursue this. And so that was 2015.
I want to say significantly is that you are allowed to outgrow what you know. You're allowed to dream bigger than you've ever dreamed before.
Yeah.
I feel like our imagination and who we're created to be is like a hot air balloon. Sometimes you just need to turn the heat up a little bit, and then it makes you rise off the ground, and you start seeing yourself from a perspective that you never thought you could do. But you need to put yourself in a place where you lift off the ground.
Yeah.
And when we were living in Kenosha, we grew up a lot.
Yeah.
We were realizing who we were as people. And we would walk the streets that we once loved. We still do, but we felt like who we needed to be was we need to be in a bigger space.
Yeah.
it's kind of like, it's gonna sound so weird.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
The best example is the fact that we were sitting there living in this 1,000 square foot
Sure.
home with 4 kids and a roommate in our basement.
She was allowed to free come and go. She wasn't like
it was fine, but like
It wasn't a prisoner.
There were so many people crammed into this tiny house.
We had a back door. She could go out the back door.
Yeah. But whatever. It was just one of those things that like
she paid rent. I mean,
we gave her a key.
We gave her a key.
Exactly.
Did you at least give her like a door to like go in and out of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was the back door.
It was a back door.
It's not like it was.
It had a window on it, so you could see in, see out.
Yeah. But
there were vents.
There were vents.
We eventually built her walls. Originally, it was just like whatever. It was just.
Okay, Liz S. If you're seeing this, you know I know who you're talking about. We're talking about her. She's okay with this.
Yeah. But yeah. So So it was just one of those things where we're just like we were growing out of our space in general. Couldn't sell it. Whatever.
We knew 2013, 2014 something was on the horizon. We just didn't know what it was. We couldn't identify it.
Yeah.
But as years went by, we realized there's more to our life than where we're at. And we had to make a big decision on, okay, what does the next version of Brian Lindsey look like?
Yeah.
And I believe that through our entire life, we go through many different versions of ourselves. That, when I lived in Illinois, that was Brian. When I moved to Kenosha, that was Brian 1.0. We moved to Atlanta, 2.0. I'm currently becoming 3.0.
Yeah.
And I love all the versions of myself because I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't have those identity changing moments in my life.
Yeah.
And to me, it's about permission. I had to give myself permission to grow. And what I had and what I knew, it was limited by the space I was in.
Yeah.
And I had to make a decision to step out in something that was super, super scary.
Yeah.
And we knew that we were going to move like probably late 2015.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to be Atlanta because we went there. And we told a bunch of people and our friends and everything, and it freaked a lot of people out.
Yeah, because they're like, "Wait, hold on, no, like,
what are you doing?
What? No, we want you to stay." And we're like, "Yeah, but we're just not able to grow here or whatever."
Yeah.
And we knew that we were just, this is where our next season was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So in October of 2015, we moved down here to Atlanta. Technically Kennesaw, Georgia, so it's about 30 miles north of Atlanta, but it still is in the suburbs, but it's awesome.
And like something I always tell people is that when we moved from Kenosha to Kennesaw, we arrived with a little bit of money and enough dreams to get us by.
Yeah.
But it was the hardest thing we ever experienced.
Yeah.
It's gonna say, like, I almost feel like we had an emotional massage.
Yeah.
Where we had to massage through our emotions, and when we moved here, we had to work through a lot of things.
Yeah.
We had no friends. We had Lindsey's parents; they were great, but it was kind of like being airdropped in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Seeing it from Google Maps, but not actually knowing the terrain.
Yeah.
And we showed up and we're like, "We're gonna go do this." It didn't work.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about this with people. People don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
We felt so lost that it felt like we were in this emotional snowstorm. Everything was covered. We couldn't see anybody because we just didn't know what to do with ourselves.
And a little bit on that, that I feel like is important is that we moved down to Atlanta when I was about 6 months pregnant with our 4th child.
Yep.
And so, as soon as we got into a house, 3 days later, I got put on bed rest for a month because I had preeclampsia.
Yeah.
It was like bad. My blood pressure was like crazy high, and they could not control it with anything other than me lying on my left side.
Yeah.
I would sit there and I would have my blood pressure would be like 156/200, something like that. Like, it was just like way more than it should. I was swelling really bad. Basically, my liver and kidneys were shutting down, and that's kind of what was happening. So the only way that we could do this was by me laying in bed. So I would sit there and I would actually lay in bed and I would watch Creative Live, and I would just learn business while I was.
Yeah.
I would learn the business of photography while I'm laying in bed, because that's all I could do. And so whatever, like, I would just sit there and like, I just learned business. I was totally able to get through preeclampsia. Kara,
we call her Kaz.
Yeah,
Like,
Kaz, yes.
So I was working part-time at Costco.
Yeah.
And I would get calls from Lindsey.
Because we still hadn't established ourselves as photographers here in Atlanta.
I had to figure something out.
Yeah.
And I would get calls, I'm going to the hospital. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then her parents would bring her. And then the next day, she would come home. And the next day, get another call, I'm going to the hospital. Yeah. So for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight, she kept on going to the hospital. Yeah,
because it was bad. I was not.
It was intense. I mean, it was like emergency every single day. It was just like nothing felt stable because it just kept on changing.
Yeah. So ended up having Bravery about 9 weeks early, and so he was in the NICU for 45 days. And yes, his name is Bravery, and I
love that.
We should tell them all of our kids.
Okay, names. So all of our kids have word names because we're slightly hippie, and I just like it.
And we're crunchy.
So yeah.
Organic crunchy.
Yes. But so we have Summer Grace is our oldest. She's 15, and her name is spelled with an O instead of a U.
Summer Grace. Yeah. Because when I was a child, I loved summer because it brought so much joy, and I'm like, that's the first life I'm bringing into my life. I want to be full of that same joy. So that's why we called her Summer Grace.
Yep. Yeah. And then Harmony Rain is our 14-year-old, and she's amazing. She is our peace bringer and everything like that, and she just makes us all live in harmony.
I was randomly at Target trying to figure out her name, and I kept on looking at these books, and I was like, there's something about these books. And long story short, I found word names, and what spoke to me was, I love orange. Orange is my favorite. And there was, the orange brings harmony. Yeah. And so when I saw the color orange, I imagined the word harmony. Yeah. And I'm like, we need harmony to reign. Yeah. So that's how she got it from Target.
Yep. And then Journey actually took a really long time to come. Yeah. So his name is Journey, but then we needed a good, strong middle name because I knew that Journey is most of the time a girl's name. But we wanted him, even though he's a boy, he still has the name Journey. So we literally gave him the middle name Strong.
We found
Strong
out
is his middle name.
We found out he was a boy. Yeah. And we were in Elkhorn, Lake Geneva, or Elkhorn. Is it Elkhorn, Georgia? No, Elkhorn, Wisconsin.
Near Lake Geneva.
And it was like an hour drive, and it was like in the middle of winter. Yeah. And we just found out he was a boy. Yeah. And there was something about the sunset, and there was a farm in the background, and there was this barren tree on the other side. Yeah. And I saw this road in front of me, and all of a sudden, I heard the word, I'm going to give you need to be strong in the journey. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I switched it around, and I'm like, journey strong. Yeah. We need to be strong in this journey. Yeah. So we were like, we're going somewhere, but we need to be strong. Yeah. But
there was about a 5.5-year gap in between Harmony and Journey. And then Bravery, that's his name, is that it was a brave move from Wisconsin down to Georgia. But then we also knew that my pregnancy wasn't going the best. And so he needed lots of bravery. So Bravery Sage. So a person of great wisdom, like a sage, you would go to a sage to get advice. Yeah. Yeah. And so.
And I realized that 3 of our kids have Y's at the end of their name. Yeah. And that was not on purpose.
Yeah. So Harmony.
I don't know. I like Y's in names.
Lindsey. And then there's Brian and Summer that do not.
Why would I name myself? Just rename myself. Brian.
Yeah. Bryony.
Bryony.
But Kaz, yes, you can make it. I'm feeling for you and everything like that. She said that she's just got tested from preeclampsia, and she's got on some sort of bed rest because of unknown dysautonomia. Yes, but she loves our names, and I agree. So, yeah, definitely praying for you and everything like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Everyone in Credence in his family starts with a B.
I mean, we could be
So it
George
happens.
Foreman. We name all of our kids George.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
like Brian. Why did he do that?
I don't even know, but it's all good.
You should get him on here.
Yes.
Um,
So
Yeah, just let him know that we're.
I know, right?
Mhm.
Exactly.
yeah, let me call him real quick.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Oh, you're too busy. What? Oh, he's making his grills.
Yes.
He's making his grills. He's making
he
grills.
does the Kamala Harris thing.
He does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every now
Yeah.
on the podcast, we just have to call Kamala in to help
Oh,
us
yeah.
out.
There's a really good TikTok lady that plays her.
Uh-huh.
And
Oh.
she's really funny. She's really funny. It's probably a lot of them, but like I like her version of it because
You'll have to share it with her.
I'll have
Yeah,
to find
share it with
Yeah.
me. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So,
I feel like my humor
Yeah.
interjects this, and I go 1,000 different.
it's all good. It's
That's
all good.
okay.
I
We're here
usually
for
am
it.
able to, yeah. So,
By
yeah,
next year, there will be a new mod room member.
Yeah.
Oh, really cool.
Oh
yes,
my
so
gosh.
the boy will be born on the 22nd or 23rd. She's getting a couple days early induced from her due date, but a couple days is nothing. Okay, for real. A couple days is nothing.
I remember
9 weeks, 4 weeks. The farthest I've ever gone is 38 and a half with Harmony.
I remember we were in the hospital, and
Yeah.
I was awoken by the
Mhm.
doctor and be like, Lindsey's getting a C-section right now.
Mhm.
And I'm like, cool.
Yep.
And then I fell back to sleep, and there was a baby in my arms. Man,
No, he was in the room with us.
poor dad.
Kids.
I mean, like that.
Yeah.
It was crazy, man.
He was in the room.
I have stories that will make people's eyelids
Yeah.
flip out.
Okay, so all this stuff was happening with Bravery at the same time that we moved down to Georgia to restart our photography business. And it was one of those things where we're like, what do we do with this? And so there was about a year that we didn't do anything. We just survived. My goal was to keep Bravery alive. And then Brian's goal was to just work at Costco and do what he could, like it was whatever.
I had to convince people I was a good photographer.
Yes.
People were like, you told me you're a photographer, but I didn't believe you. And I'm like, okay.
That we still shop at the same Costco that he used to work at.
It was like a job interview every day. You have
Yeah.
to prove to people you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
That really helps the what is it called? Oh, I lost it. This does not help. The imposter syndrome.
Oh,
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
100. Because I had the joy and I had the experience. I had the experience, but I also had the joy in my heart.
Mhm.
But because I wasn't actively doing it, I felt like every time I explained it, I felt like it was a job interview.
Yeah. Actually,
And they're like, good job.
actually on that, as a creative or as a small business owner in general,
Mhm.
because you're basically having to prove yourself and interview for a job every single time that you want to get paid,
Yeah.
you get really good at other people's interviews. So if somebody is like, hey, why should I hire you as a photographer to take photos
Yeah.
of babies at the hospital? Because I did that at one point. I aced the interview because this is what I do all day long. I sell myself every single time I want to get paid. So it's not a big deal to yeah.
You always did a great job.
I know.
You always did.
Aww.
But I mean, I know we're kidding around, but during this year and a half thing,
Yeah.
I literally thought we were done. I thought there was no hope for photography. Just because I didn't feel
Because we had all these big dreams and we're like, this is going to be it. So I went on and I changed our business name from Brian Cowen Photography to Brian plus Lindsey.
Yeah.
Because we realized that I was a big part of it.
You always were a big part. It's just we had to tell the world that.
Yeah, exactly. Changed our logo from whatever, just a big B to the beard and glasses. So yeah, it was awesome and I love it. So Brian is 100%.
No, I'm just being silly.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's just we seriously were in this crazy downward spiral. I'm just is anything I ever done in the past mean anything?
Mm-hmm.
I felt lost in the dark. I felt like if I had a flashlight, I felt like the battery was almost dead. And whatever I shined it on, oh, cool, we're going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Battery turn out. you know, or I'd bump into something and be like, oh, this is cool. But then, you know, there was no way to structure it where it would make money, or I didn't know how to sell it.
Yeah.
You know, everything that we ever done has literally been word of mouth. So I was suffering with imposter syndrome and like, wow, I don't know how to sell any of this, but also no one believes I'm actually good at this.
Yeah.
You know, it was like two arms tied behind my back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I started learning the business of photography.
Sure.
So I really, once everything Bravery was stable, I started just diving in and just learning everything I could about the business of photography. So I learned Facebook ads. I learned how to market. I learned how to do all the different things. I listened to like every single free podcast that I could and every single free training that I could. I would just like, I completely and totally immersed myself in that. And like eventually learned enough to where like we ran a free engagement session thing where they got, you know, like one free photo, but then they could buy more, or they could hire us for their wedding and they got all of the images kind of thing. And it worked and it was good. But then at the same time, there were a lot of people that are like, thanks for the free session.
Yeah.
But I'm getting married out of state, so I can't do anything. And so we got paid a little bit, but not as much as we could. Like we desperately needed this money and it was not coming, you know, and we're like, why? What is going on? So there was all of that imposter syndrome. Like, I promise we've been doing this for 10 years. We've shot over 300 weddings. I promise you, we know how to do this so well. And yeah, it just,
but I feel like what we wanted to do with our life and our business, it felt like a sunset that we can never get to. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but you could see it from a distance. It was beautiful, but you just kept on driving, but before you got to it, it went below and you couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like we were chasing our dreams like that. I'm like, why can't we get to this? What is going on? And you know, and that led to almost giving up multiple times. Yeah.
So after sitting there and like feeling like we had to prove to people that we knew how to shoot weddings, I'm like, maybe it isn't weddings that we're supposed to pursue anyway. Yeah. And so I started learning more about portraits and like the women's portraits, Sue Bryce style kind of thing and everything like that. And I was just like, you know what? I kind of like this. If nothing else, I like the business model behind this. I like the structure behind this. And so I dove into learning how to do IPS and learning how to shoot and pose and like how to shoot in a studio.
Do you guys
using natural light?
Do you guys know what IPS is?
I was about to ask for our audience, so yes, tell our audience what IPS is.
In-person sales.
I was gonna make up. I was gonna make up something, but yours is better.
No,
I was gonna say integral preneurial sprite.
Yeah.
Never mind. That didn't make any sense.
So essentially, it is
voluntary photo shoot.
It's a medical procedure.
Yeah. We became doctors.
Yeah. Yes.
We were doing. We would help people grow hair back.
Yeah. So essentially, what it is, the best way to explain it is, like, essentially, instead of charging hourly for your work, instead of being like, I charge this much for this many hours. Yeah. And so like we were actually talking with someone earlier today where she was like, well, I charge $200 an hour, but I only shot for 10 minutes. So I could only charge them $25. Yeah. And I'm like, no. That's not, you can't do that. So when you charge per image and let them see them and experience it in person, there's a completely different experience to it. And there's a completely different way of doing it. And then you charge more per image. Typically you'll charge a lower session fee, but then a higher per image rate. And so,
I think what really helped us with this is that we had to change the conversation in ourselves, start believing in who we are, and start establishing ourselves as like, we actually know what we're doing. I stopped looking for people to say, hey, you're great, and find the greatness in me. Yeah. And the thing is, when you start pricing yourself and charging more, you're going to find people that don't want it, regardless of what price it is. But the thing is, what I had to do is that I had to find what made me come alive. Yeah. And the thing is, I started realizing I had to go from it being a photo shoot, which anybody can do, to what is the Brian and Lindsey experience? Yeah. What is it that I'm going to give them that no one else can have? And the thing is, it's me. I'm creating a world for me that allows me to be the best version of myself. And the thing is, it doesn't matter if you're a photographer or you are a landscaper.
Yeah.
It's the seed that's in you that you need to water the most, because it's going to give you the most life.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we went from just giving stuff away because just because we didn't like charging people because we didn't know really what we were doing, to being, what I made inside of me is worth it.
Yeah.
I'm valuable. I am my atoms. What I'm made of is made of the good stuff.
Yeah.
And my ingredient says I'm worthy of receiving the good things.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to take photos. I like relationships with people that helps them find that in themselves. I love relationships that help people bloom.
Yeah.
And I feel like, the last couple of years we've kind of pulled back from being our real selves. We don't talk about certain things because we're afraid of being canceled and whatever. But I'm like, you are so full of good things. And the more you speak your truth, that is going to put that spotlight on you.
Yeah.
We believe that spotlight will never go away as long as you love who you are and what you do. And that's what transformed us, is that we stopped trying to sell photo shoots and try to do weddings. Be like, we are selling us.
Yeah.
Like,
it's an
we're us. Like
yeah.
this podcast, this is you guys.
Yeah.
You guys are doing something because it's real. Like if I could look inside your heart, I would probably see the passion that's driving this.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, whatever you do in life, if it's not connected to who you are now, you're never going to find it in the future. Find it now and you'll find your real self.
Yeah.
I'm going to get off my TED. I'm going to get off my stage.
That was awesome, though. And you know what?
Yeah.
That's like one thing that I really love about doing the podcast is that things like what you just said are things that's the one thing that someone out there needed to hear to keep going or to dive in or to take it to the next level. And those are the stories I love to hear because of you just said the right thing that one person needed to hear to give themselves permission to get there.
Like I was gonna sound weird, but I learned it's okay to be emotional with myself.
Yeah.
Give myself permission to really know what I feel about something.
Mm-hmm.
And know that it has an impact outside of it just staying inside of me.
Yeah.
It's just like we all know life happens in houses, but sometimes we're afraid to open up the window and show what's really going on. And I want to create a world where people are okay to let me into their house and show me how they live, because I feel like when you feel seen and heard in your daily life, it's almost like rocket fuel is going through your veins. Then you blast off. We're allowed to blast off in our true talents. Yeah. But we tell ourselves, it's not the right day. It's not the right time. I'm like, is it ever going to be the right time? Is it ever going to be the right day?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Because you're waiting for someone else to make your decision to arrive.
Or to give you permission.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
We had a guest on a couple weeks ago, and I might be misremembering the quote exactly, but it's, you echoed a lot of the same sentiment, but you said it so well. You give yourself permission that I am worthy to receive this goodness. I am worth it. And I think and I will be, since we're talking about being open and honest about ourselves, that is one thing that I still look in the mirror sometimes and I look at myself and be like, but when you change the narrative and look at yourself and say, I am worth that.
That's it.
That is the mental flip. That is the cognition switch to be like, you know what? I am worth it. And I'm super worth this. And then you start tossing your hair back and forth and you're like, yes, I'm totally worth it.
Yeah, Brian doesn't have any hair to toss. That's why
Can you toss your beard? Is that a thing?
Yes.
I think my head, the top of my head and my beard, they entered into an agreement. They're like, we're not going to leave you completely, Brian. We're just going to change where we're at.
Yep.
So my beard just went do.
Yep.
That's what happened.
So little tiny side note on Brian's beard.
Oh God.
So
Beard hour.
This is a complete and total side whatever. But so essentially, when Brian and I first met, he was clean shaven, and I was like, okay, so I like him I like his personality, but like I'm not physically attracted to him. Like it's whatever, but I'll just figure this out. Whatever.
Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then one day, Brian, he would just use like an electric shaver. And one day that electric shaver fell behind his dresser and he was too lazy to pick it up. And so there were like 2 or 3 days worth of like stubble going on.
Messy.
Yeah.
Day,
So he had like 2 or 3 days worth of stubble. And I'm like, ooh. Okay. So, yeah. Just throw the shaver away. Like
that was
no more.
That was a little bit too personal. I don't know what.
So he had it like just whatever, just a normal, close, shorter beard and everything like that. And then No Shave November happened like probably 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, so we did No Shave November and it started growing out like thicker. And I was like, yes. So we're gonna keep that.
What's funny about my beard is that I didn't intentionally grow it out to be what it is. I just grew it out because I never did it before, and I just liked it. I think it was a little bit for me of being like, well, this is mine, and this is great. I'm not trying to follow any trends. It just was like I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah. Yeah, Credence said that he went to a haunted house and the hair on his head hid under his face. So
it hid under his face. Oh, okay, now I get it. Okay.
So it just kind of traveled. He was like,
It moved south to Georgia.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Where it always goes. The devil not the devil, but the hair went down to Georgia.
Yeah.
Someone should rewrite that song.
Yeah.
Like with the same music. The hair went down to Georgia.
There you go, Trey.
Cool.
There you go. Yeah.
He was looking for a beard to steal.
Yes. Oh man. Oh, I think we should collaborate on that song and sell it and give the money to Eskimos.
Yeah. But anyway,
so now,
because it's cold there. It's cold in Eskimo world.
Yes.
So
yes, hairless Eskimos.
They need warmth because they don't have any.
Yep.
Okay.
So basically, we started learning portraits, started learning IPS of selling the photos individually. Okay, so I was working at Costco, and this was like 2018, 2019, and I ended up quitting that, but then I had to get another job because things just got funny again. Like, here's the thing: is real life business is that things get funny all the time. Anyone that is like, "Oh, my life's perfect, I'm making all the money," I'm sorry, I don't mean to be offensive, but it's hard. Yeah,
it's super hard to pay your bills when you are an entrepreneur. It is the hardest thing,
especially when you don't know how to charge your work. That's more than anything. And we were just getting into that whole stage.
So we knew
how to charge for weddings, but not for portraits.
Yeah,
like Brian would shoot portraits almost for free, and then we would charge. We would get our money from weddings.
Yeah,
but then the weddings were hard to get because, like we were saying, we would do these engagement sessions, and then they would be like, "Oh, thanks."
We were doing sessions, and then the money went away. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I got a lift. I got a job I was doing rideshare for a while. And at the moment, like I didn't like it, but it changed my life because it forced me to have conversations with strangers.
Yeah.
And through that, I started talking into people. I started giving people advice, like good advice, not bad advice.
Yes, that would be really bad to give people bad advice.
I wasn't giving bad advice.
This story would take a different turn, wouldn't it?
Yes.
No, I realized that a lot of people are watching this, like I can't go there. But it gave me a stage to encourage people, and people started sharing their life with me, and I'm like, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And that was really, really fulfilling for me. But outside of those lift experience, I didn't know what to do with that. I'm like, this is just where it's going to be.
Yeah.
But then one day Lindsey called me, hey, we have a client call. I'm like, a client call?
Yeah.
Like, who wants
So
to
I
hire
started,
us?
like I said, I was learning Facebook ads, I was learning marketing, I was learning sales, all behind the scenes. So I figured out a Facebook ad that worked.
Yeah.
And so, like, it worked really well until it didn't. But that's a different story.
That's how that works, right?
Yeah.
But-
I became a therapist. That's
Yes,
ultimately what I was.
exactly.
But I didn't know I was a therapist. That's
Yeah.
what's interesting is I didn't go into doing that. That
Yeah.
wasn't. I didn't go in and speak into people's life. It's just.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
You know?
So essentially, like, we started getting like all these leads from these Facebook ads that we were
And we started
running.
booking people.
Yeah.
And we started shooting them
Mhm.
in the studio. But then I got nervous. And
Yeah.
then they're looking at me. I was looking at them, and it was like a high school dance. It was like, well, what do we do next?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I just was like, I just looked at them, and then I had an encouraging word.
Yeah.
And I just would speak something about them that I loved, or something that I believed that they were capable of, because we have these questionnaires that they fill out.
Mhm.
So I would look at these questionnaires, and I would be like, okay, what can I bring up in the conversation during
Yeah.
these sessions? Well, I just kept on expounding and expanding on what I saw with these people.
Mhm.
And then they started getting comfortable with me, started relaxing. I saw
Yeah.
their real self.
Mhm.
And then I started taking photos.
Yep.
It's really easy as a photographer just to go in there and be like, snap, 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 snap. Okay, all my great shots. Awesome. Give me money now.
Mhm.
But I realized what I learned, with the lift rides was it's base everything I do off the conversation.
Mhm.
And then go into what I do.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like it's the appetizer before the meal. People love to be seen and heard. Get to know them, and then they'll show you their real self.
Yeah.
And that's what the sessions became. And
Yeah.
I called it.
Connection first. Yeah.
I called it finally love your. I called it finally love yourself.
Mhm.
Because I started to love myself for the first time ever
Yeah.
in my early 30s,
Mhm.
and that seeped into these sessions.
Yeah.
Because I was loving myself just as much as I was loving them.
Mhm.
And for the first time in a very long time, we started making profit.
Yeah.
But profit wasn't the goal of this. I mean, it was, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
But I was being paid with conversation.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was starting to be able to provide for my family in a way I never thought. And I'm like, something magical is happening here.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I love, sharing what I love to talk about,
Yeah.
and people are rewarding me with allowing them to feel comfortable around me. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's the best payment.
Mhm.
Really. It's like 9 to 5s are great, but being appreciated and loved in what you do, I think is a better payment.
Yeah.
Because I was doing what I loved, and they were showing me who they really were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was like 2018, 2019 is when this started happening.
Yeah.
We actually started getting, like, we got to the point where we're like 2020, at the beginning of 2020, we're like, this is awesome. This is amazing. We're going to, like, so we quit Lyft. I was taking photos of babies at the hospital.
Like 2 weeks after I quit, the world shut down because of COVID.
Yeah.
I was about to guess that's what happened next.
Yes.
But I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't stop because of COVID. I'm like,
Yeah.
it was insane, the timing with it, because we
Yeah.
got back from Disney World,
Mm-hmm.
and then the world closed down.
Yeah. So we went to Disney World because we were finally profitable. So we took our kids to Disney. Last weekend in February, first weekend in May or in March, 2020. So like literally that next week, like 2 or 3 days later, is when the world shut down.
And then we went on lockdown.
Yeah. So
In
luckily,
Georgia, yeah.
luckily Georgia actually only had their like hardest lockdowns for 7 weeks. So as soon as like they were lifted, we started inviting people into our studio, you know.
And I thought it was a fluke because
Yeah.
when we weren't shooting for a few weeks, I'm like, this isn't going to work out. No one's going to
Yeah.
come in. But soon as they lifted the stay in place law or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, people flew in.
Yeah.
They were like, I want photos. I want to hang out.
Yeah.
I want to have connection. And
We
was
did
like-
it safely.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
we were-
Yeah.
We were everything was CDC. Everything was good. We weren't like
Yeah.
doing Lone Ranger stuff.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
we
But
were just
but you know,
flying
like
around.
but it worked, and that was actually like the first year that we like
we actually had to pay taxes.
yes, exactly. So
That's
we
amazing.
instead of getting a tax return, we actually had to pay taxes. We were actually profitable. We made 6 figures that year, in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic.
Wow.
But you know what the lasting memory from that experience, and I may get emotional,
Mhm.
is I was able to do things with my kids
Yeah,
that I
exactly.
could have never done before.
Mhm.
And the joy of going to Chili's, this sounds ridiculous, and not worrying if I could afford it
Yeah,
was the payment.
yeah.
That's
Because
what
when
I
you've
remember.
got 4 kids, legitimately, going out to eat costs about $70 to $80
It's a lot of
at
money,
least.
man.
Like every single time that you want to go out
This
to
is
eat.
pre-inflation,
Yeah.
man. So it was.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to count everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
And then
we can't do
suddenly,
this. We can't do that.
you know, like it was just like we've known like the poverty and we've known the plenty, and plenty is way better. But
Yeah.
you know, whatever, it's all good. But like it's because we finally started charging what we were worth. It's because we finally believed in ourselves enough to be able to do it. And because of that, like we learned the system so well that the person that taught me Facebook ads actually asked us, "Hey, Brian and Lindsey, would you want to teach this?"
And we're
And
like,
so- Yeah, okay. So we started doing it. Like we were like mentors in a mastermind, and basically we were the salespeople, we were the accountability people, we were the teachers. Like we set up the Facebook ads, so we were Facebook ads managers, like, and also had unlimited access to messenger support and one 30-minute, but it really turned into an hour-long Zoom call every single month. And then if they had any issues, we'd obviously just hop on whenever they needed to as well.
We devoted, so we put photography on hold.
Yeah.
And that's what we did full time.
Yep.
Like all the time.
Yep.
And it was one of the most rewarding, but the most exhausting experience I've ever had.
Yeah.
Because we went into it being like, we're going to be encouragers and we're going to change the world, and we did change the world.
We did, yeah.
But
like we got really good at teaching all of this.
We realized that we're good at teaching, and all the photography and the lift and everything. That was all that helped us get to there.
Yeah.
But that following year, August, September, there was a major hack into our boss's Facebook account, and
yeah, just the Facebook ads just stopped working.
Yeah, it stopped
working. It was
working,
like one of those things where we could get 100 leads in a week and like turn them on, and their inbox would be flooded. And then like they would get all these leads and everything like that. And so we would have to teach them how to book in their leads and how to price themselves and all this kind of stuff.
We shared our process of how we shoot, what we say, what we don't say, our pricing, how to close a sale, how to communicate your offer. Yeah. All the things that a photographer would need. Yeah. We were sharing that because we had first-hand experience, and that's what we were teaching them. Yeah. For about a year.
Yep. And then when so in August or September, like they went from like 100 leads a week to like 4 per month overnight. And so then they were like, wait, hold on, Brian and Lindsey, my ads aren't working. My ads aren't working. You set them up. You promised me I was going to get all this stuff. And now you're not. And I'm like,
it's okay, Lindsey.
You know, like it was like, we felt responsible because we had sold them into a system that used to work, and now suddenly it wasn't, you know?
And we love the experience. I don't want anyone to think that we have any hard feelings or negativity, but like it gave us life, but ultimately it took our lives. Yeah. Because it was all that we were doing. Yeah. You know, we lived and breathed it. And when
we were working, pretty much we were on call 24/7.
Yeah. Wow. And
because we were supporting all different time zones all over the world. And so like it wasn't just here in the US.
Yeah, it was all over the place.
But we also had people in England and France and Germany and Australia, New Zealand, like all across the board.
And we became really great friends with a lot of people. Yeah. And there's 2 people that like we just love so much. They end up they passed away from just sudden sickness. Yeah. And it's just
they both got cancer, it took them immediately almost. It was it was
just like waking up Facebook feed, this happened to this person. You see people sharing the status, and you're like, it was just like you were in this place of joy, and then all of a sudden it's like this place of pain. Yeah. Because you're like, you know, you were trying, your livelihood was going on right here, but then it was slowly going a different direction. Yeah. and then all of a sudden, like the people that you invested in were no longer there.
So
It was sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But essentially at the end of the year last year, we're just like, we had gotten to the point where we're just completely burned out. And
Yeah.
so like we took a step back from the mastermind.
Sure.
And we're like, we're given the green light to just go ahead and pursue your own mentoring, pursue your own like ventures and everything, and I'll support it. And it was good, but I think that we were still so burned out. It's kind of like that year after Bravery was born, where we were just like, just trying to survive. That's kind of been our year, like up until probably about September. And then so we were trying to pursue this, but weren't able to. I'm like, but I can't promise them Facebook ads. That's what I could do before. I could tell you, I can set up your Facebook ads and you're going to have these leads and it's going to be amazing. And I realized that like I couldn't do that anymore because I didn't believe in the Facebook ads. I didn't believe that it was possible
we
anymore.
were literally burned out, and everything that we thought we could rely on, it wasn't strong enough.
Yeah.
And we were just so tired and exhausted. And I remember sitting on my front porch looking outside in late August, and I was staring at the sky, and the sky was dark and gray, and I'm like, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Where's my life?
Yeah.
Where did I go? What happened to that joy? And it was soul exhaustion.
Yeah.
I was totally exhausted. I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't depressed. I was just empty.
Yeah.
It was like I was on E. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. So in about August, so July of this year. So we're talking really recent now. Yeah. So July of this year, I was I ended up being on a group Zoom call with some people, and I was challenged to make a $50K offer.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I could do that mentoring photographers. Like, I don't think that I could come up with a $50,000 like photography mentoring thing because that was what I was trying to pursue. And I was just like, I don't feel like that's possible, but you know what I could do? We could do a branding shoot for that.
We could do photography.
Like, if we just included enough images, we did it IPS, we did it the way that it's supposed to. Like, what if we just included like 500 images in that and did like four separate shoots, and like, you know, really went after like a coach that is already made that $1 million, to where 50,000 isn't that much of an investment at this point. Like, what if we did that? And I just kind of was like brainstorming it out on a Zoom call. And I got a private message from this lady that I'm friends with. And that was in the same program. And she's like, Brian and Lindsey, I want to hire you. I'll pay you $50K.
We're like, what?
I loved the energy that you brought out in this, when you were talking about this, and when you were brainstorming this out. Yes, I want that. She's made like $2 million this year, so it's not like whatever. Like, so it wasn't.
She's the sweetest lady.
She does like crystals and stones, and sells them, but also has all this kind of coaching that goes along with it. And so she's like the most woo ethereal person.
And she's okay that we're talking like this.
Yeah.
You know,
but she's also, like,
we're not like gonna get some angry text messages.
No.
You know.
But like, she believed in us so much that she paid us $50,000, and we were like, okay. And so then we kind of like rode that wave for a little bit, and then we're like, wait, hold on. So
see, I was gonna say, what that opportunity and what that money was for us is that it allowed me to reinvest in a dream that I feel like I put on hold for a couple of years.
Yeah,
I've always desired to do documentaries, to tell moving stories.
Yeah,
and what I mean by that is not only it's moving emotionally, but moving in a sense where like you're obviously watching it.
Yeah,
and I was able to invest in a high-end camera, a Canon 5RC. That's the nerd. But basically, this camera is so high quality that I think Netflix would okay it.
Yeah,
I think they would okay it because they have certain cameras they would allow.
He could shoot for Netflix with his camera. Yeah.
But there's some funny stuff in, like, you can't. It doesn't matter anyway. But I got this camera, and all of a sudden, like, I didn't advertise it, and then people started reaching out to me.
They're like, "Hey, do you do video?
Hey, do you do video?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And the thing is, I've always been a film creator from a very young kid. And I've always desired to tell really powerful stories. And I feel like I've always done it on a very low scale because I didn't believe that I was worthy of it.
Mhm.
And then when I bought this camera, I'm like, I'm gonna speak to my younger self and be like, hey, you're worth it.
Mhm.
Hey, you deserve this.
Yeah.
So I am currently working on a couple, like I'm sorry, I've worked on some things.
Yeah.
But I have visions for next year of really like exploring the film world in a way I've never done before.
Yeah.
And
So we've
Yeah.
made promo videos and things
Yeah.
like that like we've been able to like.
I made like a workout video for this
Yeah.
young lady. I made a Christmas Santa Claus like Santa mini sessions.
Yeah.
I hung out with
So-
her for a little bit. And
Yeah. So one of the photographers that we're mentoring right now, she's doing these Santa sessions. And so we just came, like Brian brought his camera and we just got behind the scenes stuff. But like what it did is it enticed people to be able to want to watch it or to want to be able to do this. And somehow we've got like 7,000 views on this video
like,
that we did.
I think it's like 9,000.
9,000, yeah. So it was 7,000 a couple weeks ago. Now it's at 9,000. So
Like
whatever, and it's got
My-
her logo, but then it's like filmed by Brian plus Lindsey. So
I think everything that I create,
yeah.
I'm not really looking for recognition. I like it,
Mhm.
but I'm looking to bring people on an adventure.
Yeah.
I feel like that's really the gold nugget behind something that I feel like that stands the test of time.
Mhm.
Did it bring you to a place you didn't know imagined? Did it spark your imagination in a way that you never thought it could?
Yeah.
That's what I love doing.
Mhm.
And it's almost like, it does sound funny, but like I want to be that guy that just kind of like, hey, just follow me.
Yeah.
Trust me. Just walk with me.
I'm telling you, we've been there. We've been like, we know what it's like to not know your worth, to not know how to charge.
Yeah.
And let us help you with this, whatever.
I know I keep on saying this, but I love in everything I do, I love weaving in the worthy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are going through something hard
Mm-hmm.
or maybe the top of life.
Yeah.
But they all come back to, it's not your bank account, but it's your heart account.
Yeah.
What's in your heart right now?
Mm-hmm.
Can you cash the check if you gave this one and said something good about yourself? Would that exchange really happen? Or would you be like, you know what, I can't write that number on there.
Yeah.
Instead of writing numbers on checks, write what makes you worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I want people to write checks to themselves and be like, what do you deserve that you're always been afraid to ask for?
Yeah.
And I want to tell stories. I want to put people on journeys
Mm-hmm.
that bring them to that place where they're in front of that vault, which is their heart.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, I'm going to open this vault. I know the combination and it's me. It's ME. You spin it, it opens up, and what's inside is you. Like you have always I feel like in all of us, we've all know that we're meant for great things.
Yeah.
When we get older, we forget that conversation. So I want to remind people of that conversation. Be like, you can say, I do deserve great things.
Yeah.
Like write that script.
Mm-hmm.
I do deserve great things by Brian Cowen. It could be one page.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a 10-paragraph story. But I love stories that allow people to say, yes, I deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
I deserve it.
Yeah.
I feel like that was really random.
Yeah, but it's really
Sorry,
good.
I'm sorry.
It was really good.
No.
Yeah.
That was random. I feel like I'm just it's
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Credence said, anyone can do it, only you can do you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Yeah.
And the one... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, please go. I've talked way more
No.
Go ahead.
No, go.
This is what we do every single time. You said something earlier that made me think about a philosophy that I've had with sales.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that you did potentially unconsciously, but I always used to, because I used to run a retail store for too long.
Yeah.
But one thing I always said to everybody, the staff wise anyway, I don't know if I ever said it to a customer, but I always said, if you wow the customer, the numbers will come.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
And you got to that point, and you proved it too, that really the connection and the quality of the experience is what matters, and that's what brought the monetary success anyway. But look how good it made you feel to make that happen at that level. Money aside, you even said that yourself, that it was really the reward for it was how good it made you feel.
Exactly.
Like, I realized that I stopped dating my dream and I got married to it.
Yeah.
Love that.
We court our dreams.
Yeah.
We hang out, we buy dinner, we go to a movie, we show our parents, but then it doesn't show up next year because we fell out of love with it.
Yeah.
When you actually get married to your dream, you tell the whole world about it.
Yeah.
You don't just Facebook official it.
Well, and part of it's like what you said, you have to believe you're worth achieving that dream.
Yep.
So if there's anything that we could ever say that would be like our life's motto is you are worth more than you think that you are. Like, charge your worth. Please believe your worth. Understand your worth. Like, that is, that's like a recurring theme that we end up saying.
Like, to be honest, like I know our sessions aren't cheap. Like, I know that. And the thing is, it's not about the money to me. Yeah. It's about the energy that comes out of me that makes that worth it.
Yep. And
like it's the investment. I'm like, today I'm showing up to do this. So when someone's paying me, they're paying me for the energy that's coming out of me.
Exactly.
I'm literally exhausted. I almost feel like I could run a marathon. That's how I feel. And I feel like if you're not exhausting yourself in what you're doing, then you need to figure out why.
Yeah.
There's a leak somewhere.
Yeah.
You know?
It's okay to do it in a place of rest. Like, don't burn yourself out.
For sure.
Like, that's the other thing. That's the balance that we've had to figure out.
But you can tell a lot by how dedicated you are, by how you feel at the end of the day. Good and bad.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things where we had this client, her name's Anne-Marie, and she's a realtor here in Atlanta. And she's like, guys, honestly, I need to update my headshot, but I probably just need branding photos as well to really make this a thing. And she lives in, a huge house and has the right kind of decor and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, we're looking and we're like, why don't we just shoot it at your house? Like, I think that would work. It's your brand. That's who you are. And so she's like, yeah, that's good. But just so you guys know, like, just so you're aware, I hate every single photo of myself. Like, for real. Like, there is not a photo. The only photos that I actually use, even for my headshots for my business, are cut out of me and my family photos. Yeah. So basically there's me there. I'm like taking my family photo, and then I just cut my head literally out of the family photo. And then that's what I use as a headshot.
That's it.
And so just warning you guys that I might like two of the images, but we'll figure this out.
We were in the middle of the shoot.
Yeah.
I show her the photo and she's like, I don't like these.
Yeah. She's like, ugh, no.
And I started to shrink in. And then she's like, let me go change my clothes.
Yeah.
She came back. It was amazing.
Yeah. She was just wearing something casual. It was just like a shirt and like a little camisole that like matched it and whatever. And she was wearing jeans and it just felt more like her. Like, okay, yeah, that's what you need to be wearing.
We don't like to take photos of people that dress the part.
Yeah.
We like to take photos of people that want to stand out.
She had this stiff like blazer on, the outfit that you think a realtor
would wear, like a blazer, and they're smiling. They're like, "Look at the house I just sold! Isn't it amazing?"
Heather Cook, if you're listening.
yeah. Well, but the thing is, we remind them in the sessions is like, this is about you. Mm-hmm. This is about your connection to what you're selling. This is a connection to your clients. Mm-hmm. We want to take photos that people are drawn to you. Yeah. Not necessarily what you do. Mm-hmm. We want them to be drawn to you, because when they get to you, that leads to what you do. Yeah. Instead of putting your job in front of yourself and hiding behind it, put yourself in front of your job. Yeah. Show your personality.
Yeah, that's just what we had Heather Cook on recently, and she was talking about her success. And that's what she turned. That's what turned her into a mindset coach, was because she turned her business into being her. Because people buy from her. They're not buying from a real estate agent. They're buying from Heather Cook. So
exactly. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So basically, like, there was halfway through the session, because she was still like, ugh, no, I don't like, ugh, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, who told you that you weren't worthy? Who was it that like broke you down to where like you don't think that you're beautiful? Because we would be like, oh my gosh, you're beautiful. Like, we love this. Oh, like this. And she's like, yeah, you're just saying that. Yeah, no, I'm really fat. No, I mean, I'm quirky. I'm funny, but I'm not beautiful. Like, why are you saying that? And I'm just like,
a lot of negative words.
So this sounds like me.
Oh, yes.
But you know what? You know what I
like,
did.
I know I'm funny, but
so
right? Exactly.
I would compliment her, because I feel like, to me, it's always great to go from the positive angle.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah.
So as we're doing this, it was funny. Like, sometimes I can feel like a sheep, but I became a lion in this situation.
Yeah.
And I said, Anne, you don't know how great you are, do you?
Yeah.
Like what? Like what's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, what? There's some wires frayed here. What's misfiring here? And then her brain was like, wait a minute, what are you saying to me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to take photos that helps you reconnect to you.
Yeah.
This is why I'm here. I'm here not to make you feel beautiful, but I'm here to celebrate you.
Yes.
I believe this is a birthday party wrapped up in a photo shoot. So we're going to celebrate you. So I want you to relax. I want you to have a good time. And then she was just like, oh, okay. And then the whole shoot changed.
It totally shifted.
It shifted.
Like, everything about it just shifted.
See,
and
those aren't the exact words, but I just told her, I'm like, you can stop pretending. You can stop pretending that you have to be something for these photos to look great.
Yeah, because she kept saying, I want all of my clients know me, and so I don't have to have a photo shoot for them, but I want people to know me that aren't like, I want people beyond just my immediate circle of friends, but like, I sell in East Cobb, and it's like the higher, ritzier part of Atlanta or whatever, and so like, I need to be able to be this person that rich people think that I'm supposed to be.
I don't want people to think that I yelled at her.
Yeah.
I did not. There was no yelling. I'm sorry if anyone's like writing you a letter right now, like, who is this guy? No, right. I was not doing that. No. I think I just offered kindness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, good. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, man.
Yeah. And so the whole entire shoot shifted, and it changed, and it was amazing. And so we stayed later than we were planning on.
I think we spent like 5 hours with her.
Yeah, just because because it changed and it shifted so much that we're just like, no, we need to capture this part of it. And it was amazing.
The other unique part of her is that her house was specifically designed for her personality. So she had like these cabinets that were like bright blue. She had these awesome like red couches. She had like these fresh plants all over the place. And it just worked. And the natural light was awesome. And the thing is, most houses aren't like that.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we brought our artificial light in too, and we had it. It was just a steady, like, LED, constant light and everything like that.
Every session we do is unique because we're not quite sure what we're going to use.
Yeah.
But the personal branding aspect, we should have shared this in the beginning, is probably come out of why we've done everything in the first place. Well, that's why we did the mastermind. That's why we did our Finally Live Yourself, is that we love the personal connection.
Yeah. And
especially when you're in business, it's just like, I think we're kind of told that we have to be, hands across our chest and, super serious all the time. And that's how you're seen as a business. And I'm like,
or the classic,
like, hold your phone up as you're reading like a encyclopedia of how to
this is a branding photo right here.
Oh,
or like,
gosh.
But we love the journey of helping people find their identity.
Yeah.
And all the photos that we do is we feel like guiding them to a place where I think like they've been afraid to go to. They've been afraid to reveal. And you know, and the thing is, Anne, like, she's so sweet. She's so kind, and she has beautiful kids. And the thing is, we were able to take photos of her in her place where she spends the most of her life.
Yeah.
And we feel like the best way to celebrate someone is where they live their life.
Yeah.
And personal branding is that to us. I feel like if your brand doesn't show where you live, and it doesn't show who you are, you may miss clients that are looking for that. Because you're sharing the job.
Yeah.
When I feel like you could share yourself.
Yeah.
And then that's the relationship that people really want from you.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times as artists, we hide behind our art.
100%. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we hide behind the camera, we hide behind the paintbrush, if that's, you know, the medium or whatever it is, but we hide behind our art. And so our Instagram is all of our work, but none of us.
Correct.
Yes, I know, because that's what we do. Is we talk to.
I thought about getting cardboard cutouts of herself for this.
Yeah.
And just being off camera.
That's brilliant. We could do that for this too, Trey.
But like,
Yes.
I would do Home
God.
Alone. I would put a rope on the arm and then just move. You know, like, oh, that's
Like
funny.
a Muppet.
And then my mouth would move and shoot fire out of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that would be hilarious.
But
That's a different
no,
podcast.
but as artists, we end up hiding behind our artwork a lot of times. And our whole mission and what we've shifted into is coming in front of the camera, being okay with being in front of the camera, being okay with sharing who you are. Like, sharing a little bit of your personal on your business and a little bit of your business on your personal.
Yeah.
And kind of letting all of that mix, because honestly, it's amazing, and it's the right thing, you know.
If I made sweaters for a living, the only thread I would want to use would be authenticity.
Yeah.
Because when authenticity is woven right, it hugs you back.
Oh my
It hugs you back.
gosh. Did you just come up with this now?
I just
He
made
did.
that up.
He totally
I
did.
just made that up.
That's amazing. I'm so glad I clipped that. That was really
Yeah.
good.
And it's just like, your true purpose and what you're created to do and what you love is supposed to be worn all the time. But we're afraid. We're terrified of judgment.
Yeah.
What if, so I'm 40, and I feel like my next couple of years are going to be the most defining years of my life. And I'm like, what if we raise the next generation, you know, through my kids, and you know, if you guys have
what
kids,
we're doing,
anyway, but what if we raise the next generation to be sweater wearers of confidence, where we just wore our confidence on the outside, and it allowed our identity to be seen in its true form, instead of covering it up with logos and phrases and TikTok, and be like, that's a legacy that I want to leave behind.
Yeah.
Is that I want people to look at me, somebody like, he lived truth. And the truth is difficult. Truth is like climbing Mount St. Helen in a swimsuit. And that sounds funny, because when you get to the top, it blows up. It makes no sense. Anyway, it's
so,
just
or anything. If anything, like Brian was talking about the confidence, and
that was good. That's good.
So so every single day with our kids, we've got, our girls are 14 and 15, and every single day when they're on their way to school, I'm like, bye, I love you, walk in confidence. Like, that's literally what I tell them every single day since they were in middle school. So like, for the last 3 years, every single day, or 4 years, every single day, I'm like, bye, I love you, walk in confidence, because that's what I want to instill in my children, is walk in confidence. Like, you are amazing at who you are. And what you do.
I you know, like, we in our house, you know, I mean, we have pictures on the wall. We color the wall a certain paint color that we love, or you know, we have a couch in a certain part of the room because it makes us feel good. And I'm like, what if we did the same thing, but internally with what we loved? What if we decorated our insides with confidence, with love, with truth, with understanding, acceptance, whatever it has to be? How much different would the world be if we decorated who we really were on the outside? We decorated our house like our insides. I mean,
Actually, literally, our daughter is an artist, and so you can't really see it. It's not the best photo of it.
That is the best.
But yeah, she basically has drawn on her walls and just like created this amazing.
When did she do this?
Yeah. So if you see, this is in her room right now.
She did that.
Wow.
Yeah, she's totally.
When?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just over time, like she's just in her room and she asked for paint markers, and so she just paints on her wall whenever she wants to.
I never saw that.
And she does it on her hands and everything like that, and like draws like fake tattoos that wash off after a while.
I want to say something kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
we encourage that in our kids. We encourage that in everybody. It's like, be who you are.
Don't let your truth in your life be a washable tattoo. Mm-hmm. When stuff gets hard, don't let it wash off of you.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I forgot about that. Truth that is real in your life will not wash away, despite of what's going on. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's why we mentor. That's why we take photos. That's why we speak into life, because we wanna leave a mark on someone.
Yeah.
That wherever they're at, they don't think of us, but they think of their truth. Mm-hmm. They think of what makes them great.
Yeah.
Like we all need to know who we are in order to know what we're capable of.
What I wanted. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, you're good.
I want to take a moment just to compliment you as parents, because that is, I think, one of the gonna get a little emotional here. That is one of the single greatest things that I think you could do, is to celebrate who your kids are, not what you want them to be.
Exactly.
And there are so many people in this world who expect their children to be something, and almost force them into something that they don't want to be. So from me to you personally, you are fantastic parents, and you're doing a great job. And I don't know if anyone's told you that, but you're amazing people.
Thank you.
No,
that's I look to see what their strengths are. What are you called to do in your life? The same way that I was like, Brian, you're called to be a photographer. Summer is crazy artistic and crazy musical, so let's do that.
My son's as random as he did a Christmas performance, and he was singing a song, and in between his parts he was just going ninja. like this, and everyone's like, that's Brian's son. I'm like, yep, I'll be high-fiving you as you walk out, guys.
Because he's just like, all right.
Yeah.
And he's like really getting into it, whatever.
As we're talking, I feel like for my kids, and I feel like as a parent, is that we don't need to be referees. Mm-hmm. We need to be cheerleaders.
Yeah.
And we feel like sometimes we need to shut things down because we're afraid of where it's going to go. But like, what if it doesn't go the way you think it's going to go?
Yeah.
What if they throw the touchdown when no one else would? And it's like, I don't want to blow the whistle. I want to be the person yelling, using my voice for different things, being, you deserve this win.
Yeah.
You deserve this. And I feel like how kids will develop that and understand it is to give them the freedom to understand what that is.
Yeah.
We want to protect them, but there's only so much protection that we can give, because then you almost, it's like a fake learning. I want them to learn the real deal. I want them to feel the real grass. I don't want them to be like, oh, I had a lot of AstroTurf experience today.
Yeah.
Like, that's not real.
So we've never shielded our kids from like anything. Like, we've always been just open.
I mean, we shield them from things.
Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't
just like, oh, just go do that.
Yeah, no, but like we don't like,
there's no regret.
We let them experience life, and like we just let them experience natural consequences too, because that's how you learn the best,
And sometimes the best teacher in life is experience.
Mm-hmm.
And you just, as much as you want to protect your kids, it's like there's only so much you can do, because they need to learn their own way.
Yeah.
Something I said a long time ago, and I'm remembering now because I love it, is I think the sign of a great mentor or a great teacher is that he doesn't try to bend someone in the shape that they want them to be.
Yeah.
You find their natural bend and help them discover what that bend's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Help them bend it on their own. Not be like, okay, there you go. It's like, don't control how they learn. Encourage how they're receiving.
Exactly.
So. Right. Like the difference between you can prepare the road for your child, or you can prepare your child for the road.
Sure.
Exactly. So we're all about preparing our child for the road. Like that is not.
And it's hard. It's hard. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard being a
Of course
parent.
it is.
Like,
Yeah.
like, kids are. They're
I've got teenage daughters with boyfriends and all these
yeah,
things.
they have like
you know?
boyfriends and like I'm talking to the parent, I'm talking to the mom, and the other day like my Summer's boyfriend like was riding. I have e-bikes. I love e-bikes. I have like 7 of them.
Mhm.
I ride them all the time, and they're amazing. Anyway, that's a different podcast. But he was Summer's boyfriend was riding it while he's ridden it twice, and the second time he's ridden it, he fell, and he's like probably 6'2", 6'3". Yeah,
like he's a big guy.
You know, he got
and she's
up.
really tiny. She's like 5'2". So like there's at least a foot difference, whatever.
But he got scraped up and it scared me to death. And I showed up and I was just hung out with him. He was okay. And then I get a text from his mom saying, "Hey, thank you for showing up." And it's just like as a parent, it's not being like, "Oh, I shared up when I needed it." You share up because you need to be there.
Yeah.
Show up. You know, you don't have to ask for permission to show up. You just be there and hang out, you know, and you don't have to control the relationships they have. You just have to, know what's going on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So,
I don't know. I feel like I've just been chatting and saying a lot of like random things.
I mean, that's what the podcast is about.
Yeah, I know.
That's the whole point of it, right?
Sorry, Trey. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say I'm just gonna say this is honestly within my top 3 favorite podcasts. So this is amazing.
No, I love it. I mean, I feel like the last couple of years have been amazing. The knowledge and the maturity that I have, I think I hit some pinnacles in maturity that I didn't know I could hit. It's kind of being like a sharpshooter. I've hit some bullseyes on things that I didn't know I could do. But what's crazy about that is that I'm excited for the other things I'm gonna hit bullseyes on. Yeah. And it's because of my previous successes, I know that the future ones are capable. I mean, I'm capable of doing that. And this sounds cheesy, but I'm in the business to change lives. This is why I do. I'm in the business not to help people make money, but I want to help people with transformation.
Like the way that I see it is kind of, we were watching Spirited last night, so there's a ripple that happens.
It was okay. Spirited was okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
But basically the whole point of changing one Scrooge is that there's a ripple effect that happens amongst the whole world. If you change one person, you can change the rest of the world.
Yeah.
That was kind of the core message that they were trying to get with a lot of song and dance. But basically the way that we see it is like, if we can help one photographer be able to charge what they're worth and be able to create this amazing experience for their clients.
That's it.
Then they're able to get more clients. Well, then they're able to give this amazing experience to their clients, and that, and it just kind of keeps going on. So then we're able to affect all of the other people that are around them, and then they're able to affect those people around them, and then it just kind of keeps going.
Well,
so we want to be able to change the world one person at a time.
It's kind of like skipping rocks, you know what I mean? Like the rock, if it just stops in one spot and it falls in the water, and I'm like, okay, try it again. And it's just like, when you have knowledge, you have revelation, you have experience, it's like, it's better to share it as much as possible than just to be like, oh, well, I hit one, I made one impact.
Yeah.
Is I feel like our lives were created on purpose, so we should share it on purpose.
Yeah.
And the more purposeful we are with who we talk to and what we share, even the things that we don't want to share, I mean, it's almost like I feel like a bunch of us are walking around with these ice hearts, and the more we share our warmth and the more we share our truth, we can help people defrost. And I think
because only love can defrost a frozen heart.
It sounds like an 80s song.
No, it's the plot behind Frozen.
Spoilers.
I was waiting for that.
Spoilers.
That was a backdoor way to promoting Frozen 5
No.
Frozen 5.
The Frozenator.
Sorry,
Frozen
that was a
5.
long pause there. That
Yeah,
was funny in
I
my
know.
head.
We'll have Kristen Bell on next week's
yeah.
podcast.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Groff.
and Will
And
Ferrell.
Right.
What if Will Ferrell showed up in Frozen? That'd be
Yeah.
funny, wouldn't it? Like as a live person,
Hmm.
like it doesn't make it like. But he's like in the elf outfit, and he's
Yeah.
like, "This doesn't work."
This doesn't work.
This doesn't work. But he he
Yeah.
falls through the ice. Anyway, no. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm done.
Brian, Lindsay, before we wrap up our podcast here, would you indulge me for a very, very lightning round list of questions? So just
Yes.
rapid fire.
Yes.
Of
Yes.
course.
So your answers do not require explanations. If you want to add one, you're more than welcome to, but just say the first thing that comes to your mind, and you can both provide us an answer.
Awesome.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Who is one person alive or dead that you would love to sit and have lunch with?
Abraham Lincoln.
Probably one of my favorite. I don't know. Right now, I'm listening to Zig Ziglar. So whatever, random person, but I really love listening to all kinds of people. So that's who I'm listening to right now. So why not just have a conversation with Zig Ziglar?
Can I expand on mine real quick?
Yeah.
So reason I like Abraham Lincoln is that he was a part of the world where everything changed because of slavery and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And he had weight on his shoulders that I cannot imagine. And he did it, I think, with integrity. And he did it in a way where it's like he died for something that he believed in.
Yep.
And I would love to know
Wallace, I like that.
what was going through his mind
Mhm.
as he made decisions that he did.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's some lessons in there about like just don't go with the popular. Don't you have to? People need to be free, and you need to make decisions that free people up.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's whatever.
Yeah.
We're done.
All right. So next one.
What is let's see. What is the best piece of advice that anyone has ever given you?
I was actually someone asked me earlier about someone that changed my life, and he told me something. He's like, Brian, I can't teach technique. Sorry, I can't teach talent, but I can teach technique.
Yeah. Or
And-
technical.
Techno would be like photography, settings, and all stuff. But I'm like, he's like, I can't teach you how to be talented, but I can teach you how to use your camera.
Mhm.
And I feel like when I'm around people, I want them to know that the talent's inside of them, and the tool they're using takes time to fully master. But I love how like you don't try to people are talented. You just got to give them time to develop what that talent is. So
And for me, it's the charge your worth. I know I said it already, but
No,
that
that's
is
all
that
right.
is like that is 100% what I like. I live and breathe. It's just charge your worth because it completely changes everything.
she was breathing worth earlier, and you choked on it. Oh my!
Anyway.
I'm getting tired. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
On your
That out.
bookshelf,
That was-
on your bookshelf right now. So if you have any bookcases in your house, or if you have a book sitting on your coffee table in your
Mhm.
living room, what is the top book on your coffee table right now?
I mean, I have an app that I use constantly. It's called the Script, and it's pretty amazing because then I've got I've got like 100 Ways to Motivate Yourself, Sell by Dale Carnegie, Building a Story Brand, like Your Creative Career. Dale Carnegie, Zig Ziglar, like the classics. I'm really falling in love with them again, as funny as it sounds. So, and then, whatever, Your Brand Identity Breakthrough, obviously awesome. I don't know, a lot.
what is that? Is it the Story Brand, right?
Story Brand. That's the
Yeah,
one that he's
I've
listening
been
to right now.
listening to that. I've been reading that about the most successful stories that are often told, and usually movies use this, is that people want to be the hero of the story.
Mhm.
So when you're telling a story, it's not about like what you are; it's about what you're allowing them to be.
Yeah.
And it's like people want to know that they're a hero to someone else, and it's telling that story to allow them to feel victorious in whatever they're doing, that they can win too. It's not about the good guys winning; it's about you can win.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
So, like, as a client, like, you want to make the client the hero and not yourself.
Yeah.
You're not like, I'm doing this because I'm amazing and I can do all these things. It's like, I'm doing this because I've been here and I want to be able to guide you through this amazing experience.
Yeah.
So,
someone said, try to think of something that someone's done that makes them cringe.
mm-hmm.
You can read it. Can you read that better? Okay.
So Kaz was saying, try to think of something that someone has done that makes them cringe. You really can't only think of you really can't only think of yours. So when you go out and do something embarrassing, the chances of someone remembering you doing that is nearly non-existent. So just do the good thing, which I agree.
That's
like
right.
That. I love it. That's great. Yeah.
I have a question too. Can I
Sure.
ask the next one? What is one thing from Kenosha that you miss?
Oh.
The spot. Or the lake. You know what? Being able to walk down to the lake, honestly. And because the lake is essentially like the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Lake Michigan, but it has the waves just like the tide. It's just fresh water. And you can't see the other side. On a really good, clear day, you can kind of make out Michigan on the other side, but it basically looks like the ocean.
So I miss
freezing.
my neighbor Ron.
Oh yeah.
When we met him, he was rather old, and we saw him a couple years ago, and he was older. And I'm like, this guy, I don't know, he's found
he had
youth
cancer too. So,
but when we first met him, it was a snowy day and I couldn't get in the driveway. He came out of his house, hunched back, and he pushed the car into the driveway.
So essentially, imagine this little guy, scary guy, looks like he's homeless, okay? Long, scraggly, even longer than Brian.
But scary coming out of the darkness.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he would run the other way.
And and so basically what happened is he worked at the Chrysler plant for 50 years. And he was working on an assembly line. And so he had to like bend over to do all of his tasks. And so in the end, his back was just permanently hunchbacked. And so he just looked like the scary guy, whatever.
Like during COVID, he called me. We talked for like an hour.
Yeah.
And we talked about cameras. We talked about drones.
And we weren't even living there anymore.
And it's like this guy, like, he just loved talking.
Yes.
And it's just so great.
So imagine like the crazy conspiracy hippie guy grown up, and that's who he was. So like we saw photos of him in the 70s, and he just looked like that crazy 70s hippie conspiracy guy. And he is a walking TV show. Yes. If and then imagine that 50 years later, and that's who he was.
Yeah.
So
but my other answer.
But we had photos of him that just recently that we found.
I miss Devil's Lake. It's not Kenosha, but I miss Devil's Lake State Park. So,
being up in Wisconsin, that was awesome.
Well, Lindsey, Brian, honestly, like I said, top 3 favorite podcasts. Just I love this so much. Thank you so much for being on tonight. Thank you for sharing your truth and sharing your fabric of authenticity.
Thank you.
Is there any how would you like to be contacted? What are your socials? Where are you the most active? How can people get in touch with you?
Carrier pigeon.
Ooh, excellent choice.
Yeah, yes. Just drop a note from the sky. I'll fold it. I'll put it back with a pigeon.
Nothing complicated.
Nothing complicated.
Right.
UPS is expensive, so why not just send a pigeon?
Yeah.
The thing is, like, we're most active on our personal Facebooks.
Yep.
And if you just look me up, I'm not sure what my profile picture is now. I think it's an old photo of me. But honestly, I found it's old.
We literally just found. So Brian's been going through the garage and he's been going down memory lane and like realizing all these things. And so he found an old video of himself. Like, yeah.
Well, so here's the long story short. If you find Lindsey or I on Facebook, add us.
Yeah.
It will not weird us out. It's not strange.
But
we love friends, and message us.
Yeah.
Send us a message.
Let's have a conversation.
You
But basically at Brian plus Lindsey on all the platforms except for TikTok, and it's at Brian plus Lindsey official.
Yeah.
So And that's just because we couldn't get back into our TikTok. We created it, and our girls took over.
Yeah,
So whatever.
that's what happens.
But it's fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, Facebook is where we're most active.
Facebook,
though.
and comment on our wall. Add us as a friend. Like
Mhm.
we love having people in our world.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
yeah.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you so much to our listening audience. Please go check out Brian and Lindsey. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thank you so much. Our supporters, subscribers, and our moderator, Josh. This episode, along with every other episode, forever and ever and ever, is in memory of Joe Capone, our moderator, fellow comedian, critic, encourager, and fantastic friend. Find us wherever you can tune into podcasts. For updates, announcements, and more, please follow us on the social media under Modern Romantic. Thank you, everybody, and don't forget to charge your worth.
There you go.
We love you. Bye.
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 Do we leave?
Yeah,
Like,
we had like 30 seconds, and then we were gonna rate it the other channel.
I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize.
No.
We went ahead and did it. We're good.